Have you ever woken up from a vivid dream, feeling like it held a secret message just for you? You lie in the quiet moments between sleep and waking, the logic of the dream world still clinging to you like mist, a feeling of profound significance echoing in your soul. It felt more real than reality, and for a fleeting moment, you knew something essential. Then, the logic of the day floods in, the alarm clock buzzes, and the intricate, meaningful tapestry of the dream dissolves into a few nonsensical, disconnected threads. We dismiss it as just a dream, a random firing of synapses, a piece of mental clutter to be swept away. But for millennia, our ancestors believed something radically different. They believed that the soul speaks a hidden language in the silent theater of the night. What if unlocking this ancient code, a skill honed in the dream temples of Egypt and the philosophical schools of Greece, is the key to solving your most pressing modern problems and revealing a map of your own soul you never knew existed? This is an invitation to embark on a journey into that forgotten country, the landscape of your own inner world. In our modern age, we are experts of the external. We can navigate the digital world with effortless skill, we can analyze data, and we can build empires of information. But when it comes to the vast, mysterious continent within our own minds, we are often illiterate and unnavigated. This journey is about reclaiming that literacy. It is a promise that you do not need a new app, a new guru, or a new philosophy to find the answers you seek. You simply need to learn to read the messages your own deepest self is already sending you every single night. The enigma of dreams is one of the most universal and enduring of all human experiences. Every night, across every culture and every epoch of history, human beings lie down, close their eyes, and enter a world where the laws of physics are suspended, where the dead can speak, and where the most profound truths are revealed in the most bizarre of disguises. We spend, on average, a third of our lives in this state, a cumulative 25 years adrift in this other reality, and yet we treat it as a footnote to our real lives. Why, in 2025, with all our incredible scientific advancements, does this nightly pageant still hold such a powerful grip on our imagination? Perhaps it's because we all have a story. I remember a period of my life filled with a creeping sense of professional anxiety. I felt like an imposter, constantly afraid of being exposed as unqualified, despite all outward signs of success. And during this time, I was haunted by a recurring dream. In it, I was always back in university, moments before a final exam for a class I had completely forgotten to attend all semester. The panic was visceral, the feeling of being utterly unprepared, the certainty of my impending failure. I would wake up with my heart pounding, the anxiety of the dream bleeding into my waking day. For months, I dismissed it as just a stress dream. But one morning, armed with a sliver of the ancient wisdom we are about to explore, I asked a different question. I did not ask why I was having the dream. I asked the dream, "What are you trying to show me?" And the answer came in a flash of insight, not as words, but as a feeling. The dream wasn't about the past exam, it was about the present test of my own self-worth, a test I felt I was failing every single day. The dream was not the cause of my anxiety, it was the perfectly crafted symbolic diagnosis of it. That single moment of interpretation did more for me than months of avoiding the issue. It was the beginning of a conversation with the hidden part of myself. This is the power that still captivates us. It is the promise of a direct, unfiltered dialogue with the very core of our being.
This dialogue is as old as humanity itself. If we journey back in time to the moonlit banks of the Tigris and Euphrates, we find the ancient Mesopotamians meticulously recording their dreams on clay tablets. For them, dreams were not personal psychology, they were omens, divine messages from the gods that could foretell the fate of kingdoms. They were a form of celestial weather report, and the dream interpreter was the most vital of meteorologists. A little to the west, in ancient Egypt, this practice was refined into a sacred science. The Egyptians built dream temples, healing centers known as incubation chambers, where a person suffering from a spiritual or physical malady would go to sleep in the hopes of receiving a diagnostic dream from the gods. The temple priests were the world's first dream therapists, skilled interpreters who would decode the divine message and prescribe a course of treatment for the waking life. For these cultures, the dream world was not a fantasy, it was a parallel reality, a place of direct interface with the divine. This understanding was woven into the very fabric of the Abrahamic traditions. Think of the story of Joseph from the Hebrew Bible. His ability to interpret dreams was not a parlor trick, it was the engine of his entire destiny. It elevated him from the bottom of a pit to the second most powerful man in Egypt. He understood the symbolic language of the fat and lean cows, not as a literal agricultural report, but as a symbolic map of the future, a warning about feast and famine. His skill was not in seeing the dream, but in seeing through it, to the reality it represented. The prophet Daniel, in the courts of Babylon, did the same, interpreting the terrifying visions of King Nebuchadnezzar, not just to save his own life, but to shift the course of an empire. In these narratives, dreams are a form of divine intelligence, a channel through which a higher wisdom communicates with humanity. As we move forward into the classical world of Greece and Rome, we see a fascinating shift. While the idea of dreams as divine messages remained, a new perspective began to emerge. The great physician Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, taught his students to pay close attention to their patients' dreams, believing they could reveal hidden imbalances in the body. For him, a dream of a raging fire might indicate an excess of yellow bile, a hot humor. The dream was a diagnostic tool for the body. The philosopher Plato, meanwhile, saw dreams as a window into the untamed animalistic nature of the soul, the part of us that is unleashed when the rational mind sleeps. And Aristotle, his student, took an even more scientific approach, suggesting that dreams were not divine messages from outside, but were simply the lingering echoes of our waking sensory experiences, the aftershocks of the day's activities. In the span of a few centuries, the understanding of dreams had evolved from an external message from the gods to an internal signal from the body and the psyche. This was the crucial bridge that would lead us to the modern world.
For nearly 2,000 years, this rich tradition of dream interpretation was largely relegated to the realms of folklore and mysticism. It took the revolutionary work of two men at the turn of the 20th century to bring it back into the center of our understanding of the human mind. The first, Sigmund Freud, famously declared that dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. He, like the ancients, believed that dreams were not random, but were a coherent and meaningful language. But for Freud, the language was not that of the gods, but of our own repressed desires. He proposed that every dream is a form of wish fulfillment, a coded message from the hidden primal parts of our psyche, the id, that are too shocking for our conscious, civilized mind to accept. The dream, he argued, has two layers: the manifest content, which is the bizarre, nonsensical story we remember, and the latent content, which is the hidden, repressed wish that the story cleverly disguises. The dream interpreter's job was to act as a detective, decoding the manifest symbols to uncover the latent truth. It was Freud's brilliant but rebellious student, Carl Jung, who would ultimately blow the doors open, creating a bridge that connects the most modern psychological thought with the most ancient spiritual wisdom. Jung agreed that dreams were a vital link to the unconscious, but he believed they were much more than just a repository of repressed wishes. For Jung, the dream was a natural and necessary tool for psychological health, an attempt by the psyche to communicate with the conscious mind, to reveal imbalances, and to guide us toward wholeness. He called this process individuation. Jung's most profound contribution was his idea of the collective unconscious. He noticed that the symbols and themes in his patients' dreams and in the myths and fairy tales of cultures all over the world were often remarkably similar. He proposed that beneath our personal unconscious, there lies a deeper, shared layer of the human psyche, a collective inheritance filled with archetypes. These are universal, primordial patterns and images, such as the wise old man, the great mother, the shadow, the hero, and the trickster. When these figures appear in our dreams, Jung believed we are tapping into this ancient collective wisdom. Our personal dream is speaking a universal language. The figure of a wise old man in your dream is not just a random character. It might be the archetype of the inner guide, your own deep wisdom offering you advice. Your dream of being chased by a terrifying monster might be an encounter with your shadow, the disowned, unloved parts of yourself that you must confront in order to become whole. With this single idea, Jung reconnected the modern practice of dream analysis with the ancient sense that dreams connect us to something larger than ourselves. This brings us to a crucial point, and it's where we can debunk some of the most common myths about dream interpretation. You have likely seen dream dictionaries that claim to offer universal meanings for symbols. To dream of a snake means betrayal. To dream of your teeth falling out means you are anxious about your appearance. Jung, and indeed most therapists, would argue that this is mostly nonsense. A symbol in a dream does not have a fixed, universal meaning. It has a deeply personal one. The symbol is a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, and its meaning is unique to the dreamer. To a herpetologist who loves snakes, dreaming of a snake might symbolize healing and transformation, echoing the ancient symbol of the rod of Asclepius. To someone with a deep-seated phobia, it will mean something entirely different. The dream is speaking your language. Therefore, the only true expert on your dream is you. The role of a guide is not to tell you what your dream means, but to help you ask the right questions so you can discover the meaning for yourself.
And here is where the story comes full circle, where the ancient intuitive practices and the most advanced modern neuroscience are beginning to shake hands. We now know that dreaming occurs most vividly during REM, rapid eye movement sleep. When we are in this state, brain scans show a fascinating pattern of activity. The amygdala, the brain's emotional center, is on fire. The hippocampus, which is crucial for memory consolidation, is also highly active, sorting through the experiences of the day. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of our rational, linear, logical thinking, is significantly dampened. What does this tell us? It tells us that the dream state is a time when our brain is specifically designed to process deep emotions and memories without the censorship of our logical mind. It is a nightly, built-in therapeutic session. The dream is the brain's way of weaving together the emotional threads of our experiences, trying to find patterns, resolve conflicts, and heal itself. The symbolic, often bizarre language of dreams is not a flaw in the system. It is the native language of the emotional, associative brain, freed from the strict rules of waking logic. So, how do we begin to learn this language? How do we move from being passive viewers of our nightly movies to active participants in a dialogue with our own soul? The process is simpler than you might think. It does not require a special gift, only a special kind of attention. It is a three-part practice: the invitation, the reception, and the dialogue. Let us practice this together, not with the dream you've already had, but with one you have yet to receive. This is a practical contemplation to prepare the ground for tonight's wisdom. Find a quiet, comfortable position. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. You are preparing to enter a sacred space, the gateway to your own inner world. The first step is the invitation. The ancient Egyptians did this by sleeping in a temple. We can do it in our own beds. Tonight, before you fall asleep, you are going to set a clear, gentle intention. It is an act of priming your unconscious mind. Hold a question in your heart, a gentle query about something you are struggling with in your waking life. Phrase it simply: what is the source of my current anxiety? What is the next step on my creative path? Show me what I need to heal in my relationship. Hold this question not with a demanding mind, but with an open heart. And then place a pen and a small notebook by your bed. You have sent the invitation. Now you let go and trust that an answer will be sent.
The second step is the reception. This is the most crucial part. When you wake up, even if it's in the middle of the night, your first movement must be for the pen and notebook. Do not turn on your phone. Do not start planning your day. In that precious, misty state between sleeping and waking, the veil between the conscious and unconscious is at its thinnest. Write down everything you can remember. Do not censor or try to make sense of it. Write down the plot, yes, but more importantly, write down the feelings. Were you scared, joyful, confused? Write down colors, sounds, textures. Write down the title of the dream if one comes to you. You are an archaeologist, gently brushing the dust off a newly discovered artifact. Your job right now is simply to preserve it before it vanishes. The third and final step is the dialogue. Later in the day, when you have a quiet moment, open your dream journal. Read what you have written. Do not try to analyze it with your logical mind. Instead, engage it with your heart. Pick one central image or character from the dream: a mysterious house, a talking animal, a frightening shadow. In your journal, begin a dialogue with it. Ask it questions. Who are you? Why are you in my dream? What is your message for me? Then allow your imagination to answer. Write down the first thing that comes to mind, without judgment. You are engaging in what Jung called active imagination. You are allowing the symbol to speak for itself. You will be astonished at the wisdom that emerges from your own depths when you have the courage to ask. This practice, repeated over time, will slowly but surely teach you the unique symbolic language of your own soul. You will begin to see that your dreams are not a random collection of bizarre events, but a continuous, unfolding narrative about your inner life. They are a nightly commentary, a personalized guidance system, a compass for your soul. In a world that is constantly shouting at you, telling you what you should want, who you should be, and how you should feel, your dreams are the one pure, unadulterated whisper of your own deepest truth. The great wisdom of the ancients was not that they had special powers, but that they had a special kind of respect. They respected the inner world as much as the outer. They understood that the map to a meaningful life was not to be found in the external world of achievement, but in the internal world of the soul, a world to which we are all granted a visa every single night. The key to unlocking your most pressing modern problems may truly be hidden in that ancient, mysterious, and sacred space. The conversation is waiting. All you have to do is learn to listen.